Let's take a look at this lab, the Linux backdoors lab. So there are various ways an attacker could leave a backdoor behind on Linux. And with a backdoor, they can simply enter your machine at any time they want, run commands, and do all kind of funny stuff. So let's take a look at these various ways. So the first way they talk about is using SSH. So with SSH, you can remotely control a computer, and system administrators use this to maintain systems over a distance. For example, in different offices or different countries, they can SSH into the machine and then run commands and maintain the machine. However, a malicious actor can do that as well if they have the private keys or the passwords. So with SSH, typically they use an SSH keys. So SSH keys instead of passwords for security reasons. And the system administrator would often generate a key pair with this command ssh keygen. And those pairs get saved in the folder .ssh, and it can be named anything. So let's see if I create this key pair and then take a look inside .ssh. It created this key pair. So the first file is the private key, and then we have the public key. So the key pair allows the attacker or the system administrator to remotely log into a computer over SSH. So they could do something like SSH -i and then username at the target computer. So in this case, let's do this attack box IP. And you'll see I haven't, in this case, I don't have the key, so it's added to, it requests the password. But if we have the password, we can remotely log in, or if we use the key pair, we can also remotely control the computer. So the keys for SSH are always stored in this hidden folder, .ssh. Notice this dot in front of it is hidden. So if we take a look in the file, you won't see it here because it's a hidden folder, but it does exist. So if we type here /.ssh, you'll find the key pair here. So the private key and the public key. Those can be used to log into SSH remotely. If you want to see the key, this is what they ask here, then use -i. It is one of the ways a backdoor could exist in a Linux computer. Another way is using a PHP backdoor or a web shell, for example. Let's take a look at this web page or web app. See, cloud native or whatever web app. So let's see how this web shell works. So we have the website link here. Then we go to the malicious PHP file, $cmd is, and then specify whatever command. So this could be something simple as date. Then it runs the date command on the terminal and returns the output. Or we can use any Linux command here. So for example, pwd, and you'll see the directory that we are in right now. Or we can do something more like who am I to check our current username. So with a web shell, you can run all kinds of commands, and they are directly executed on the web. So with a malicious PHP file, you can then run commands on the machine that is running the web server. Typically, those files, the web server, are stored in the folder var www.html. So this folder. In this case, you'll see we have an index.html and a backdoor PHP. We take a look at that file. You'll see, so take a look at that file. You'll see it's a PHP file and might look cryptic if you don't have programming background. So what it does is it runs something on the system using the system commands. Here they use shell exec, that is the same thing. They run a command on the system and they run whatever command is given in the URL. So this is PHP code for the parameter commands. It takes that from the URL and runs it in a function system. It runs it on the system. It is using schedules cronjobs. So cronjobs allows you to schedule tasks on Linux. There are various locations where they are stored. For example, etc cronjob. So that's in the etc cronjob. In this case, there's not that file or etc cron tab. Here you go. In this case, there are some things scheduled here. You'll see 4 different tasks. So they could say run a specific script. So this is the command for the script as a user and then at a specific time. You see here how this time works. So at what minutes Should it be every hour, every minute, and so on? You can specify when the script should be run. And take a look at this example. So on the victim's computer, it's running the cronjob file. You see here etc cronjob. And every second, every minute, and so on, it runs this malicious script mol.sh. And the hacker's computer here is listening. And you'll see that within a minute or so, it automatically pops a shell. It's because Cronjob, it can automatically run scripts. So if you run a malicious script, in this case a reverse shell, it will automatically run that script and do the task. So now it will automatically get a reverse shell whenever this Cronjob runs. So we can take a look at this Cronjob file, at this malicious script. So you see this is a reverse shell script. And you'll see in the meantime, the attacker got access into the computer. See, they have access into the victim's computer, and they are root, right? So if you check current directory, they are in root. So they directly have root access here. So with cronjobs is a way that attackers get access into the system. And the cronjob files are spread around the system. And so what you can have is that even though you're not really doing anything, the cron job is like automatically scheduled tasks. So if there's automatically a malicious script scheduled, in this case the reverse shell, the attacker each time gets access into the computer. Even though maybe you restart the computer, the attacker simply listens for a connection. Because the reverse shell script runs again, it automatically gets the connection, and as you see, they have access again into the box. So that's with the cron jobs, automatically scheduled tasks.